Hello again and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover as we got a couple of reactions from friends and associates and even family, reactions to the news that Eminem's daughter Haley gave birth to little M a few days ago. And while fans have also been exploring some of the lyrics that have aged poorly following the news of his grandson, things took a turn for the worst when news about this hit a particular segment of social media, to the point that we even got Ice Cube Jr. react to one of the rage bait posts about this, and we'll be exploring more on this in a moment. And we also got 50 Cent's reaction to the news, and also more on 50 keeping his foot on Diddy's neck as he shared a snippet from actor Terrence Howard about a wild Diddy story. And today we also have more that's come from one of the more devastating leaks linked to Eminem that hit the web a few years ago, the song What If with Joyner Lucas and Eminem. And Joyner Lucas expressed his frustrations with the leaks a few hours ago, and you could hear the pain in his voice, and we'll be exploring more on this in a moment. And today we'll be starting with the reactions to the birth of Eminem's grandson, and from Eminem's daughter, Elena, it goes, "Obsessed with this tiny human and could not be more in awe of you, mama. Motherhood is such a beautiful thing and you make it look easy. I'm so proud of you and grateful you have Evan." Heart emojis. And before we get to 50's reaction, some of Eminem's lyrics are now making a comeback following the news, like this one for instance. This is now Eminem's worst aged lyric ever. "Shake my head, straight from nail in the coffin. Nobody wants to hear their grandfather rap."
Tired of this shit, man. It's just too much. I don't want to be the bad guy.
And to this, a user expanded, "Any diss about age is guaranteed to age horribly." And if I recall, the game had one aimed at Jay-Z that also aged horribly, so this is true for the most part. And we got even more where this came from, lyrics that are making a comeback, like this one on Reddit for instance. "The prophecy has been fulfilled, and from drug ballad it goes, but when it is all said and done, I'd be 40 before I know it, with a 40 on the porch telling stories, with a bottle of Jack, 2 grandkids in my lap, babysitting for Haley while Haley's out getting smashed." It wasn't exactly how he predicted, as he only became a grandfather after he turned 50, but it was pretty close, all things considered. And news about this got to the weird side of social media that sparked reactions like, "B-tier rapper Eminem is officially a grandfather. Feel old yet?" And you already know the side of social media that you are at when you see takes like these, as it has everything to do with politics. And on this note, some have expanded. I would say F-tier guy sucks. However, some on this side of the web believe this is pushing it, hence takes like, "Bro is a liberal, okay, but let's not be biased. He ain't B-tier, lol." And more on this note, his political takes are terrible, but the guy is definitely not a B-tier rapper. So clearly, not all of them have lost their minds. And this caught Ice Cube Jr.'s attention, and he reacted with, "Who the F runs this ish?" Well, it is clearly someone who doesn't agree with Eminem's political standing, creating some rage bait that actually did the job as it went viral. And we even got more rage bait using fake headlines when a user added, "He must be so embarrassed that his grandchild is white." And as expected, the source, "Trust me, dude." And we even got a reaction from 50 Cent, who posted this on IG. "Congratulations, clapping emojis. This is the best. Wow." To which a user expanded, "Eminem as your granddad, 50 and Dre as your uncles. Lucky child, heart emojis." And it didn't take long for 50 to be back to his trolling ways, as he posted a snippet of Terrence Howard on the PBD podcast talking about an encounter with Diddy.
"There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. When you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything. You lose some spiritual energy. When you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. People that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some over greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. therapy. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting, okay? So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back.
And 50 added the caption, flushed face emoji, no comment, I'm staying positive, folded hands emoji, God help us all. And Terrence Howard's story has sparked reactions like, crazy, everyone in Hollywood hid this from everyone. They were scared he would have them killed, like Tupac. However, some believe that Terrence Howard is a questionable source, as another user expanded, because Terrence Howard is reliable. Not saying it didn't happen, I just prefer a better source. And some have now concluded, if even half of what Terrence Howard is saying is true, it is not just a Hollywood problem, it is a cultural one. Men chasing fame, money and power at the cost of integrity, identity and masculinity. And what are your thoughts on the story from Terrence Howard? And moving on to the next point, we got to hear from Joyner Lucas about one of the most devastating leaks so far when it comes to Eminem's music, the What If collaboration that continues to split fans to this day. And he spoke about this on the Jason Lee show on Hollywood Unlocked. Check out a snippet that shows Joyner Lucas express his frustrations with Eminem's team.
The whole thing is, I was extremely mad with Eminem's team. Not Marshall, but his team. I was extremely upset at them because they're so extreme on hacks and leaks and shit, so that when I shot the music video with Marshall, I had to have earphones in because they didn't want nobody on set to have the song before it came out. They're extremely private, right? And it was just like, that's the last team that I thought would ever have anything leaked, you know what I mean? I couldn't even get access to some of the records because
it was Fort Knox.
Right, so it was like,
so for it to get out was just like, how
for them,
this
exactly.
Get out?
How the fuck did this get out?
Yeah.
I'm shooting a whole entire music video with earphones in because niggas didn't want the song to get leaked. But then my fucking record gets leaked when it's supposed to, you guys are supposed to make sure that this shit didn't fucking come out, And it's like, I was so frustrated and pissed the fuck off.
Were you also mad because that's the moment?
That was the moment. Yeah. That record was that moment for me and Marshall would have been crazy. And I feel like his team dropped the ball on that. And it really pissed me the fuck off. But after we let the shit ride and let it go away and whatever happened after that, it was just like the whole conversation died down. And it was just like, whatever. Then we just decided just to leave this subject alone and just let that shit go.
Damn.
And the What If leak continues to split fans as this sparked reactions all over the place. Takes like, I get the thought behind the song, I really do, and I get why Eminem of all people making a song like that could be interesting, but the song just freaking sucked and would have been viewed by non-M fans as terrible ass revival. And more on this note, as a song, I think the concept is amazing, and I love the story in it, but I think that M should have tapped into his angrier voice and flow to deliver the verses about losing his friend, instead of the sad mopey flow he went with, at least. Honestly, if it had some bite to it and was less of a pop rap minus Skylar Grey song, it wouldn't be half bad. But here's the thing, the song was unfinished and was leaked. And if you recall, Eminem was catching some heat when this leaked as the story made headlines and he was judged like it was an official release. It is crazy how irresponsible most of the mainstream journalists turn out to be, especially when it comes to Eminem. However, not everyone was dunking on the song, as some have expanded. As a bisexual Eminem fan, that song was cool, even if a bit misguided and a bit trying too hard to see the other side without truly getting it. I appreciate and love the gesture that it as a track is, and hope that one day, even if on some random box set or whatever, releases. And more on the positive side, first time hearing about, song is great. It is a type of song I would expect from Joyner Lucas. It is why I F with him. Him and M both always add more meaning to their songs. But over to you guys, do you believe that the leak was overhated, or were you a fan of the song? Personally, I thought Eminem's storytelling was amazing on this one, even though it was unfinished, but I could see the potential. The raw emotions in his voice made it sound believable, and I'm very much aware that my position on this song is an unpopular one, and I'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comment section, as Joyner Lucas pretty much put Eminem's team on blast for how they handled it. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and see you on the next one.